Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome back for another Gambit podcast. We are a Grand Arena only focused podcast now because Territory Wars sucks something awful. I, I am SoloBase15. I'm here with my good friend Zareth, and more importantly, tonight we have a very special guest. We have Calvin Awesome, who hopefully, knock on wood, will be finishing top 10 in Division 2 again. Yeah, this round. So, Calvin, how are you?
I'm doing really good, and I'm very happy to be here. Happy to be a part of this all. It's a feels like it's a big step for everything.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
you've been putting up the numbers in Grand Arena though. I made a joke I think last season when my alt was transitioning from Division 3 to Division 4 or to Division 2, and Lagzilla was he's like the ruler of Division 3.
The
Like
the
he's been,
Overlord.
yeah, the Overlord. Yeah, you remember that comment? So yeah, yeah.
That's really
So
funny.
yeah, well, so Lagzilla is the guy who always wins Division 3. I actually haven't paid attention if he won this time or not, but he's traditionally just been the guy, and so I said I'm transferring into the having my Overlord be Lagzilla from Lagzilla. My Overlord in Division 2 on my alt will be Calvin Awesome, and so you've been winning Division 2, you've been winning all of your divisions, or at least in contention for it for a long time now. So and you're streaming stuff, which is amazing for someone who's actually winning divisions to actually be streaming their content. That like truly an awesome opportunity for people to learn.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it was. We've talked about this before. That was difficult in the very beginning to kind of get that down. Like, what do I do when I'm streaming? Like, can I try this? Do I need to think about this? Can I test this? But I again reiterating what we've said before. It's well worth it. Like I'm not gonna stop it just because there's a little extra added pressure, a little less planning, or whatever it is.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I like streaming it much better. Um, but it does add so much pressure when it's like, okay, I'm on this stream. I have to come up with something right now because once you commit to streaming, and we've said it on here before, once you commit, you've committed. Like you're streaming your GA no matter what happens. And sometimes you're just like, man, I want to go off camera. This is not going well, and then you can't.
I know you're like, I feel like I need to apologize to the people watching.
Yeah.
Like I can't believe this is how it's going down. Like I'm sorry, you guys wanted to see high end gameplay, and
I
you
mean,
know,
I don't know about you guys, but I feel like there's a certain team aspect to it. Like everybody that's in the chat or watching is kind of behind you and helping with advice, and there is a little bit of a feeling of like I failed you.
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Well, people are generally sympathetic. I remember in one of my matches
Oh yeah, oh
actually,
yeah.
one of my matches this week, the guy was in chat with me, hanging out, watching, and like I was killing his squads and stuff, and then I was like, he's like, oh, I guess I have to go attack. He was like, I kind of forgot that. I was the one facing you, and I was kind of rooting for you the whole time. And I was like, well, that's kind of fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he's rooting for me against his own defenses. It's just,
Yeah.
people want the person they're watching to do well, and sometimes it's just you can't give them what they want, and it's disappointing to everyone.
Yeah, and you guys are talking about, chat's generally supportive. That's because you've never gone against Zareth's guild before. When they show up in mass and they're like, oh yeah, you should use Newt here. I swear it'll work.
Oh yeah, there's always gonna be the guy that says try the Han Solo or
Oh,
whatever it is.
Ando is everywhere.
Terrible, a bad idea.
In fact, Ando, are you out there now? I'm sure he'll bring up the Han Solo. Uh,
He'll be here
Just so
eventually, I'm sure.
characteristic.
yeah. Um, all right, so we did. you are streaming, before we forget, because I will forget, please tell people how to find you. That way they can actually watch you, because I do think it is very instructive to watch somebody that can consistently finish in the top 10.
Oh yeah, and we I might actually better to share a link or something like that at some point. But if you want to find me on any platform, I primarily use Twitch. Just look up Calvin Awesome. I would assume that I will be the first one to pop up. After today's video, the channel shot up big time.
Oh, really?
I'm up to for me it shot up big time. Like I was hovering around 30. I think 30 followers. I'm well into like 42 or something like now.
You're 44. Yeah, 44.
Sure.
I just pulled it up.
44. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm putting your link in chat right now.
Okay, I appreciate that. Yeah, that's the main way to find me. I kind of do YouTube, and by do YouTube, I mean I take my videos from Twitch and I put them on YouTube, and I occasionally do roster reviews. And I also have a server that I just opened up.
Oh yeah,
I saw that. Yeah.
That's mostly just to transmit content and whatnot. It's where people have questions or want to know things specifically about the content.
No, well, you know, I think that it's important. I was talking before we even started the podcast. I was talking to a guy who does podcasts, and he's more experienced with it. But what he said, like, he's been to a bunch of conventions, and the thing that they all say is, you need somewhere to live, like, for your content to live. So,
right.
You know, being able to, you know, have a Discord server where people can actually contact you and interact with you, or at least they can go for information.
Yeah, and that's the whole idea behind it, because I will still continue to use the Gambit server for all things Grand Arena. Like, I don't know if you guys can tell us, but I do genuinely love the server. But yeah, that is there for content. And one of the things that I've been getting into more so with both the channel and the server is going beyond the execution of Grand Arena and talking a little bit more of how you get to that. Because you guys see it too. We get a lot of people saying like, "Oh, well, I don't have those teams. Oh, I don't have those mods, or I don't have that counter bill." I'm trying to work ways within the streams to kind of help get people to that point to where these things can be achievable. Because it's if you want to go 12 out of 12 during the Grand Arena or go for high space, you need to have you can't just be good on game day. You have to do leg day.
That is absolutely true. Yeah, unless you're Zaret Salt, then you just roll over everyone.
Zaret Salt was one of those kids that just got like genetically super muscular and plowed over everyone.
That's
but also refuses to practice. It's like the Allen Iverson of Galaxy of Heroes, where I don't know if you guys have seen the infamous clip where they're interviewing him after a game, AI, and you know he's like the star basketball player for those of you who don't follow NBA, but he's, you know, like one of the really top guys back in the day. And he and someone is like, "So your coach says that you don't really practice, you know, like you don't practice that much," or somewhat, you know, "We've heard you don't practice, and you know, you're not putting in the time." And he's like, "Practice? You think I have time to practice?" And he like when he goes off on the reporter, he's like, we're just talking about practice here. Like, what value does that have? Basically, like, you know, he doesn't straight up say it, but he's extremely disdainful of it. And it's like, how good could he have been if he had actually not been too good, you know?
And then he dropped like 45 the next night, or it was some like absurd amount of points the very next day. It was just perfect tie-in.
Well, it's like, it doesn't matter how much he practices or not. Like at that point in his career, you'd still take him. But
right,
you know, on the other hand, you see some of these really top guys, and this isn't a basketball podcast, but
not a
you see some of
podcast, not a basketball podcast.
Yeah. God, what do we talk about?
But it is translatable. Like, you know, you do need that practice. That's important if you want to be at the very, very top. So, I mean, I feel like a lot of the practice I get though is on my main, so
It
there's
is,
that
yeah.
at least.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and that's I personally don't have an alt, and I don't think I ever could, just because I can't fathom it. But that is one thing that does carry over is your experience and your training. Like if you can manage one thing on one account and you have a similar composition on another one, that's something that will easily go over. So
Yeah. On my alt account, well, since my alt account does not have the roster that my main account does, on my main account, I never use the Vader counter. I practiced it in Arena like a million times to Ray. Never used it in Grand Arena. On my alt account, I used it like every other round. And it's like, oh, all right, well, I practiced this once, so let's see if it works on the alt. Here we go.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. So anyways, so Calvin, how did your season go? And for context, let's see, you won last season, is that correct? In Division 2?
it was 2 seasons ago now. Yeah, I took first place or premier Kyber champion, whatever you want to call it. I believe it was 2 seasons ago now. That was a very, very good season. I think it was actually my first round. No, it was my first round in Division 2. That was a very, very good way to start.
Yeah, I would say so.
No, yeah, that was a good
It
one.
doesn't suck, yeah. I wouldn't kick that season out of bed for eating cookies.
No. So that one went over really well. Last season was okayish. I went 11-1. I didn't play my cards right with what I had in my roster between offense and defense, and there was a player that was good enough to take advantage of it, and that cost me that one. But that's life.
Yeah.
It is. I feel like, we'll talk about it later, I guess. But life
Spoilers.
does kick in, though. That's certainly true. So give everyone a quick recap of how your season went up through the 9th match, so week 3. How was your season? How was it been?
Up until this last week, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was great. Something that I've never ever been able to do is go the entire Grand Arena season, the entire month, without dropping a single battle. Like even in the 2 times that I took Kyber champion, I dropped one battle, I think, in each and during each month, and that was something that I was approaching. So I was doing very, very good. And I get, if you watch my streams, you'll see that I do get 1 or 2 guys per week that are just completely outmatched. But I got a guy, and I was really content with this, that he pretty much just gave me the middle finger and threw everything he had on defense. Like he even sent me a message to kind of let me know that that's what was going to happen.
I know, he sent you that one. He's like, let me know how you feel about the surprise I left you. Something cryptic and a-hole-ish. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I was, on one hand, I'm like, wow, you're a jerk. And on the other hand, I'm like, wow, I can plan for this. So I think I like just threw SOKR on defense, took everything else on offense, and I one-shot it. Like that's kind of how the season was going. Like it wasn't super easy, but it was going very, very well.
Yeah. So, the rest of us actually fail attacks every once in a while. So
Commonly,
I haven't
even.
done that yet. I haven't done that yet. Or
Yeah.
got in the full season, I mean.
Yeah. I even used it as like, quasi clickbait for one of my matches. I was like, my first failed attack of the season, for the thumbnail, and everyone's like, "Ooh, let's see that. I want to see Vizareth fail."
I mean, it is fun to watch.
It is.
I don't know. I think the Zareth recoveries might be what they wanted to see.
Well, that's part of it, and plus, I mean, I guess if we're talking ego or whatever, it's nice when it becomes a spectacle for me to lose something. Like if that's I guess if you can frame it that way and people are like, oh yeah, I'll watch that.
Yeah, right.
Like
Yeah, you're in a good place if that's the novelty.
right, exactly. But I mean, that being said, that is fantastic. You went my alt fails too sometimes. Like I didn't have that many fails this season on my alt, but I did fail occasionally. And for you to go 3 full weeks without a single failed attack, and especially with that a-hole guy just placing every single thing on defense, like I, yeah, huge props to you on that. It's impressive, regardless of division.
Oh yeah, and it was a lot. Like I said, there were some that weren't easy, but something that has backfired before with me before that did not happen this time was people didn't wildly change their GAC lineup in regards to their history. So I was coming in with a good plan every time, and it wasn't backfiring on me because that has happened before too, where I'll be like, oh, they're gonna set this, this, and this, and then that team that never gets set comes up and like, oh, there we go.
Oh, I've lived that one before.
Yeah, absolutely. So so yeah, that's so tell us about your roster before we actually go. We're gonna go like kind of round table in a minute, guys,
Ooh,
about
okay.
like how we did on our grand arena matches. But like, so you're at Division 2, like how close are you to Division 1? How developed is your roster? Like, do you have all 4 Galactic Legends, or like what's the secret to your success? Like what's going on with your roster?
Oh yeah, all 4 Galactic Legends. I don't. How much GP? This is another conversation at a time. But just curiosity, how much GP minimum would you have to get all of them, especially with Grump Face needing like all 52 of his characters or whatever?
Yeah.
No, but I have what I think most people refer to as a very lean roster. I don't have. This is probably not fun for some people here, but I don't have a passion project. Like my passion project in this game is winning. So I focus in on anything that I think will do well on defense or that I know I need on offense. But to boil it down, I never have really any of the new toys. I do have a Galactic Legend. I have SLKR. He has been very, very good to me, especially on defense this entire month. Yeah, I've been doing that this entire month. I do have Jedi Luke as well. Generally, Luke and Darth Revan, I think, have been my best friends because they have allowed me to counter the other Galactic Legends and while I can set mine on defense. And then if my enemy doesn't have a plan, it's an instant win, which is great. And I don't have a lot of the newer stuff. For example, Mon Mothma, I do not have that team even remotely developed. My 3 Baka, he's still, I think, 4 stars, but he's usable. But I have, other than just having 1 Galactic Legend, I have pretty much everything else in there. There are gases there, Darth Revan, Jedi Knight Luke. Who else is important? Darth Vader. Darth Vader is very important. Watt. Don't have Cam. That's going to be a while. But yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. That's awesome. My alt has none of those. Well, some of them, but I also don't face people with that developed of a roster. It's a fascinating. We could talk about that forever, but the fact that you and I are in the same division and yet we're gonna face way different people. Like you'd be closer to facing my main account almost, like the way yours is developed. Like not that you'd be that close to my main either, but
no, but I think you're right. Like I've checked out some other people's rosters, like not in GAC, that are also in Division 2. Like maybe they're in my guild or they're in a friend's guild, and I'll jump in and they'll have 10 Gear 13s. I think I have 47.
So a couple.
It's a big number. Like if you compare it to on average, and that just means I'm top heavy. Like if you go down to my gear, I think I have 20 Gear 12s or something like that. Like it's not like I've got the rest of my roster is loaded. It comes at a price.
Hold on, we're just gonna do the alt compare. Okay, so my 6.4 million alt has 57 G13, so you're not that far behind that.
Oh yeah, and I don't get to use a lot of them though. This is a little sad because I think maybe 5 or 10, something like that, are just purely Jedi Knight Luke and SLKR requirements. Like,
Yep.
sorry, but for those of you who are the fan of it, I have not used Rolo once. Like, it's just hasn't happened.
I tried to use her once, and then she had all she had to do was hit one person with her 10 hits, and all 10 of her hits went to the other 2.
Oh, of course.
Never using her
One
again.
job.
He had just 1 out of 10 hits. There's a
You had
10%
one job,
chance
10
there.
opportunities to do it.
Yeah, and so never again, Frollo.
So Calvin, question in the chat: how fast is your Peplu?
How fast is that? Is that Canuck? If it's not,
No, that's the person asking is Frodo Prevails.
okay. I think my Paplu, like before or after the unique.
So pre-unique, and then we
Pre-unique.
can do the math.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if I remember with the math. I think I want to say it's maybe 210. I think.
So you know the secret then. I mean,
And,
you
like,
talked about that. You
Paplu
talked about
fastest?
you talk about the unique, because most people don't realize how fast Paplu can actually be, like how obnoxious. I get defense with my Ewoks all the time in my Division 2 character on my alt, and it's because people don't understand that Peplu is 25% faster than his stat sheet shows.
And once that turn meter gets going, it is hard to stop. I almost had I think it was at the beginning of the season actually. There was some feat with Night Sisters, and I have really crummy Night Sisters. Someone left a Gear 12 Ewok team, and I'm like, oh, I'll just Night Sister this. And you can go back and watch. It got really, really close. You could easily make the argument that I won because of luck. Like,
Yeah.
it was sketchy. But I actually used Ewoks are funny because every Grand Arena season they have like one random buff that you need to get like 50 times, and like no character gets it. Ewoks have come through for me on multiple times because they give retribution, and I'd use Wicket. I'd use Wicket this Grand Arena because he gives crit chance on basic.
Oh, yep. Ewoks give
That's just
every
Ewoks.
buff. They give every single buff.
Oh yeah, so they're really nice for feats, at least in that respect.
Well, all those buffs, I actually I like the idea of, like, I've seen a couple credible attempts of people, like, they can't quite pull it all together. It doesn't quite work, but like Fulcrum Ahsoka could almost go well with Ewoks just
Almost.
because of all those buffs.
That's one of those ideas that you write it down on paper and you're like, oh, this is totally gonna work, and you get in there and it like character doesn't even lose protection. You're like, okay, never mind, not gonna do that again.
Yeah, it's but the theory is good. So anyways, we
If there's ever a buff, that is something that we'll need to keep our eyes open for.
what if they gave Fulcrum Ahsoka the Ewok tag? I mean,
well, they gotta give her some tag because apparently she's not fighty enough to be a rebel fighter, and she's not phoenixy enough to be a Phoenix member. So I guess she's just an Ewok because not human.
Yeah, Hyperion has a good idea. Ewoks and Fulcrum need rebel fighter tag.
Oh God, could you imagine the Ewoks with Mon Mothma?
I can't. I have no idea.
Constant revives between Elder and Mon Mothma.
And also, just imagine the TM gain. I mean, I think Ewok Elder gives it on basic.
Yeah, it would be
a single turn. It would be like it'd be exactly like Pong is now.
Yeah, it just add POW, Ewok Elder, and you're set. They will never get a turn.
The things we talk about on this podcast.
Hey, it's JC.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. No, and at one point Ewoks might be relevant again. I mean, they are in lower divisions, though. I argue, like,
oh yeah,
my
especially
Ewoks,
this for 3PO.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, you need them to get 3PO, but then on top of that, like the Ewoks, my Ewoks, I would honestly guess that beyond Nest getting me defends for my alt, Ewoks get me the most out of any other team.
Yeah.
Because people don't respect them and they can just kind of fly under the radar. Once you get to a certain GP level, drop off in usefulness, but I put them in the same place every single match, and they get holds every week for me. Every single week they get at least one hold. Like this week, I bet, or this month, I bet that I got like over 10 holds total with Ewoks.
That's a big number, but I would have to imagine, or at least guess, that your mods also have something to do with that. Do you run a bot on your alt to see how your mods are? Or nah.
Oh, he alt shames people all the time.
I like to, yeah. Mostly I just show solo, but yeah, I do alt shame a lot of people because I'll run a comparison. Like I'll just look at their mods. I'll be like, I bet that they have terrible mods. So then I run my alt against them, and I'm like, yeah, see solo, like this guy sucks. Like this guy is horrible. Like my alt just kicks them in the teeth so hard. But in reality, I mean, and the silly thing is, like you look at the comparison of like the plus 20 mods, plus 20 or faster speed mods, and I still have like 6 or 7 plus 19s that could get kicked up to 6E. So like it's actually even more egregious. So I don't know. I do like to alt shame people sometimes with the mods. As horrible as that is.
Now, for me, it's a teaching opportunity. Like when I go up against someone and B1 is modded entirely for crit damage, I'll ask everyone in the stream, like, okay, so class, what do we see is wrong here today with this? What is the primary problem? And they'll get it right every time. Or I'll go up against a GG and he won't have 160 mod, but he'll be like R6 or something like that.
Oh, don't you love that? I went up against a Daka the other day that she was R5 and only had 80k health.
It's like, why?
Yeah.
I'm going to get too fired up about this. Like, why bother relicking if it's the same as like R2 with all 6? Yeah, anyways.
Yeah.
I won't get into it.
All right. Well, so since we have you on the podcast, we're going to go to a couple podcast questions a little early because you actually asked 2 of them. So we might as well talk about them with you.
Yeah, that'd be great. I don't know if I can answer those.
Well, you can at least participate. So, first one was, now that we have a modding system in place for 6 to 7 dot in function, do you guys think they will repeat this progression again with 7 to 8, etc., allowing us to hit 5 hits on every mod? So, you asked the question, we'll push it right back on you to start. What do you think about that?
You don't know something, so what do you think?
Hey, we don't know it either. It's complete opinion. It's, you know.
Oh yeah, it's speculation.
Yeah.
I just think it's an interesting idea, and because we're already leaning with mods, we're already leaning into this concept that it is much more important about your, I don't know if you guys refer to them this way, but your pings. How do you guys refer to the hits on the mods? Hits, pings.
Hey, look, I have speed. That's
okay. No, okay, but because this is important now. Because before when we got this new mod upgrades, if you had a mod that had 20 plus speed on it, it was like, all right, game, awesome. But now, I have a 22 mod on my SOKR that has 5 pings, but I have a mod that has 23 speed on my Basilisk Fallen that is only has 4 pings. That is instantly way more valuable now. And the reason why I ask this question, because if we do go all the way to 7 or 8 or 9 or whatever it is, the only thing that's really going to matter at the end of the day is how big those hits are, because you're going to eventually get all of them.
Yeah. I see, and that's the reason I don't think they will do that. Because one of the things that we all hate about Fleet is it's pure RNG. If you're hitting speed 5 times guaranteed, and so the difference in speed is so minimal that you can barely notice it, I think it makes it too boring. So I do think we advance them to 7 dot, but I think that like the primary hits when you get 7 dot, rather than, so instead of your offense being 8.33% or no 8.55%, it'll jump up to like 12.7% or whatever. with that
A
7.
very specific number.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, but I get what you're saying because if I don't know if anyone will get this movie equipped with The Incredibles syndrome at one point. It says if we're all super, nobody is.
Yeah.
So if all of you have these maxed out mods, it's just kind of like a big reset button, at least as far as PvP is concerned. So no, that's good speculation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll just follow the same path that the last batch did. I think it's going to be where the real pain comes when we get 7E mods. There's going to be this huge push because people are going to be reluctant to get 6A mods. They're just going to get people are going to try to get they're going to get the green version. They're going to get 6E and then leave them a lot of times for a long time.
Oh yeah, if you hit the stat you want.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah.
So
yeah, I'll be interested to see how long that push takes because the gap. A lot of times when they do advancements like this, at least I don't know, they haven't done mods, but they like to do them almost back to back, like 3 months within each other. I think what was the gap between Gear 13 and Relics? It wasn't
long. Yeah, it wasn't that long.
I wouldn't be shocked if by the beginning of next year we already had 7 dots, but don't quote me on that.
I wouldn't be surprised either.
Right.
So, why don't we talk about our weeks? Oh no, we have podcast questions
still. Yeah, well, we still have one more, except for we won't throw that one back on him. I'll make you answer this one first, Sarah. So, with GAC being limited to more or less 14 teams, what teams are you seeing leave the GAC meta, whether it's offense or defense?
When we kind of talked about this a little bit last week, for teams that are leaving, I mean, teams that should have left a long time ago are like Old Republic that should have been gone ages ago.
Yes.
But like Mon Mothma's really like replaced them in a lot of ways. Like they're Mon Mothma's kind of like their like spiritual successor in some ways. Like she's still good. She is good. She does a lot of great things that they never did. But at the same time, they're still not going to like stop, and they're not world beaters. I mean, I guess I keep hearing reports of how there's certain builds of Mon Mothma that can beat these Darth Revan. Like I see reports of them beating Rey actually.
Yeah.
And it's not just clickbait YouTubers. Like there are a couple people who I legitimately respect who have who say things that are actually true. So
yeah,
I think that's a real possibility. That being said, like you can have a lot of really, really bad Mon Mothma teams and people are like, oh, I'll throw a couple Zetas on her and I just have all these crappy Rebel fighters that I have at Gear 11. I'll just throw them in there. Like,
yeah, I can't remember the last time I saw a faction where it lives or dies completely if you switch out like one character. There's so many options, and it's life or death if you switch out one or two of them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think Old Republic should have been gone. I think that I keep going back and forth. Night Sisters are less and less useful though. And so I see them used a lot for better or worse. I see like just these last couple of weeks have been brutal for me in terms of having to face the Supreme Leader Kylo with the zombie cheese. And I'm not saying I'm above it. I've run it a few times, in fact. But the fact is, like that Night Sisters are starting to get edged out just a little bit. And I hate to admit it, I think my First Order team is slowly starting to disappear as well. My Kylo Ren unmasked team, like that, they're good. Lead. Yeah, crew lead. It's good. It's a good team, but there's less and less applications for it. Like I feel like, and Newt lead is also slowly starting to disappear because I can use crew lead on it. I can use something cheap to beat it. And if I don't use Kylo Ren, I can also use like Night Sisters beat it pretty credibly as well.
Oh yeah.
I feel like those are kind of the teams that are in danger because they're not getting any reinforcements. In fact, like Supreme Leader Kylo just takes all the best options and then leaves the leftovers. And like Night Sisters haven't been updated forever. They just have some really good mechanics that have kept them in the game this long. But like Bounty Hunters just got huge reinforcements. So like I would say that they're going out pretty quick, but they just got 2 new awesome bounty hunters. We'll get IG-11 pretty soon, and he'll maybe be awesome as well. So that faction is alive and well.
They could definitely get, like you said, they could get more reinforcements. You do look at some of these factions, and I don't think we're going to get anything first order, just period, for a very, very long time.
Except for maybe a ship. It wouldn't surprise me if they brought in ship. But ground, completely agree.
Oh yeah, I think if the community has been harping enough for this, and we have CGs listening a lot. I think it's a very real possibility they just throw us the resistance bomber and the first order TIE bomber 2.0.
Yeah.
So we pulled in the background. We have for the viewers here. I've attempted to mod shame Calvin's main account with my alt.
Oh no!
And you come up ahead on every metric. So that's good. You can, for the people watching on Twitch, you can actually see the comparison.
Oh, that's wonderful. You're not going, okay, you are going character by character. Sorry, I've got Twitch down here. That's why I'm looking down currently. Yeah. Let me see this.
Yeah.
We both have Ewok themed guilds. That's kind of cool, but I guess that's like 1/3 of the guilds in game.
That's seriously.
Ewok is the word, it's a very play-onable word. So, So you have good mods. You should have good mods. You're the premier Kyber champion. You're the overlord of the division. I'm just an alt, a lowly alt, and I'm actually pretty close to you on a few of these, so I'm happy enough with it.
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah, you're again for the part of Division 2 that you're in, at least from what I've seen, is just complete domination.
The filthy casual side.
The filthy casual.
Just the I don't have. Pretty much Galactic Legend and not Galactic Legend almost sums it up.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
Yeah.
It's like you live in like the noble. You live where the nobles live, and I live like, I if I was in Brazil, I would live in a favela. So
that's a good reference.
Anyways, So that's it for these podcast questions, correct, Solo?
Yeah, just for the ones that he asked, and then we'll go into the other ones later.
Let's talk about our weeks. Let's start with our guest. How was your first match, Calvin, this week?
My first match was pretty good. If I recall correctly, I'm getting the first and second one a little confused. So one of them is one of them. But I'm pretty sure my first guy, he had pretty much everything that I had, except for he didn't have Giant Loop, which had become a really, really big theme. I'm not exactly sure why, but like through all this month, it was something that I was consistently running into. Like not all, but the majority of my opponents had Galactic Legends, one of the two, but they didn't have Giant Luke, and that was the case for this guy. So I was like, okay, I can see he doesn't really have a counter developed for SLKR in his defense, so I'm just going to go ahead and set that on defense, and if he clears me, that means he doesn't have Ray or whatever else he needs on defense, and that's pretty much what happened. As I said on defense, he full cleared me, I believe he one-shot my board. The banners weren't particularly great, but one shot on the board is within itself a very, very good feat. But I ended up, I think I just came back and I think I just slaughtered him, to be honest. What he had to take on offense to be able to do that left his defense pretty weak. But there were some interesting teams, and I had to get some feats. But it was a pretty sure win, if I remember correctly. It was like 21-34. I want to say that's the right number. But yeah, he did full clear him. I think he had to use his ray against my SLKR though, so that was a good feeling.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's solid. So no failed attacks on your end.
No, round one, no. Round one, no.
Nice. Solo, how did you do? Did you fail any attacks?
Of course I did. I won the first match. You know, it honestly shouldn't have been that hard of a fight for me, but so I get this is the downfall of streaming. I get to the back zone. He puts Darth Revan and Padme in the back zone. He's never placed Darth Revan before, period. And you very rarely set Padme, so I was kind of caught off guard. And of course, I wanted to go in with my normal Padme counter, and I actually use Vader lead for my Padme counter because I use Watt to go in. That way, when I saber throw him, he's got the 30% offense, plus he's got the weapons tech, and it just gives you a lot more oomph to your hit. But of course, my chat flipped out on me and was yelling, "No, you can't do that. You have to use Treya lead." And it's like, so I listened to them, not thinking about the actual mechanics in game, and then I lost. There were 2 different times where I got their Jedi Knight Anakin into the red, and if I had just used a Vader lead, he would have been dead. And of course, I couldn't kill him because chat talked me into going with increased potency rather than increased offense, and I didn't need that with my Vader that had weapons tech on him. And so I lost. Thankfully, my opponent got to my fleet zone, and he went up against my Thrawn team of all teams with a 5-star TIE Bomber and lost to the TIE Bomber. And so, thankfully, I got the win there. I actually probably could have won even if he didn't lose. I think he went into that back zone needing to average 70 banners on both fleets. And then he got 68 against my Radis. And I was like, this might get close. And thankfully, he lost. So I cruised through with an easy win. And I was reminded, don't listen to chat, especially when they're telling you to use the Gar Saxon lead. So, Zareth, that was mine. How did your first round go?
I also lost multiple battles. I put on my worst possible Calvin Awesome impression, and so here's the thing, guys. My group was brutal this week. There was 5 or 6 people who were at 460k lifetime or more. I did have the most. I did have the most lifetime in my group, but not by a huge margin. And so my first match was against a guy with 460 something K, and that's like the super big threat range. For me, I have to take every match against someone at that range really seriously. And so, I placed my defenses, and I was pretty sure I was going to be able to beat him. He clearly did a lot of research on me as well. And then, we get to the chat, and he says, his first comment is, "Hello, YouTuber." So I'm like, okay, so he watches my stuff. A good guy. He was very good spirited, good intentioned, whatever. I could tell he wanted to just have a good time, and that was great. Anyways, I was going through his defenses. He placed the toughest defense he's ever placed ever in history, at least in this Grand Arena season. Like, it was very, very well done. He'd never placed Supreme Leader Kylo on defense, for instance, and he did this time. And so I went through, and I was like, okay, well, I don't really care. If I don't full clear him, I'll still beat him because he can't full clear me. So I went through. I failed with my Vader team against his Supreme Leader Kylo. I had some really weird, kind of bad RNG, honestly. I hate to blame luck, and I'm sure there are things I could have done better at it. The fact is, I got 3 culling blades on him when Supreme Leader Kylo was at less than 50% health, and he never died, even with like 20 stacks. And I know that you build up max health and everything from reducing turn meter, but I never got a crit, and I'm at 70% crit chance. Plus, he's the lead, so he's actually at like 95% crit chance. Like, he never got a crit though. So, maybe he had advantage actually. Now that I'm thinking of it, maybe that's what happened. But one way or another, I failed that, and it kind of derailed my attacks. I couldn't clear his geos in the back, which is kind of the theme for this week. And so I failed like 6 times on geos, and I was like, I don't care. So I'll clear his fleets. I cleared his fleets for like 64 each, something pretty good. And then I was like, good, okay, so I've won because he can't clear my squads. And so I win. And then he went through and had like he must have used every single good character and squad he possibly had, like on his whole roster for this match, because he had such a good defense. And then he just went and one shot my entire defense. And I thought I was going to lose for sure. And then he couldn't clear my negotiator in the back, and I won by 2 banners. So he totally outplayed me on ground. I'll openly admit that. He huge props to my opponent. His name is Ran with 2 N's. Ran. Good for him though. Huge props to him. Huge props to me for leaving negotiator in there apparently. And just totally lucking out. So got my win. Pretty shaky win though, in my opinion. I mean, he's a good player though. That's how things go against good players. They surprise you. So round 2, Calvin, how was your round 2? Did you fail any attacks?
No. The second round I did not, and I'm spacing just a little bit on what he put on the front wall because there was something. Okay, actually, no. What happened here? Now I'm spacing as to what he put. Okay, yeah. No, okay. So my second opponent, a really, really great guy, and I'll be honest, I appreciate what he did because there are generally two responses I get when I get someone without a galactic legend. This probably happens once every week or so. That the response is big middle finger, everything's going on defense, or I'm going to take everything on offense because I'm probably going to lose, but at least I'm going to full clear you. And that's what this guy did. And he was really nice about it too. Like he sent me a message. He was like, wow, good luck in your next round and whatnot. But so he left like nothing on defense. Like I kid you not, I'm looking at it right now. He left a gear 8 Jedi training Rey lead, Karth, Phasma, Ewoks, Night Sisters. The only thing that he relatively put on defense that was like scary was he had a Relic Newt and a Relic GG team on the back wall, hoping that I'd probably use like gas or something to solo something up front, and I would have a hard time back there. Didn't really end up being the case. It's actually great to knock out some feats as well. Didn't put his negotiator on the fleet wall, so that was very kind of him as well. Yeah, great guy. Got a really high banner. When he did, I will give some, again, props to him. He's one of the 2 people this month that took down my SLKR without a galactic legend. Okay. He got the Darth Revan counter down really well, which I find pretty impressive. Like that one's hard. There are some quirks or nuances. If you don't have it prepped properly, there are several things that can go wrong. And he got it down. He one shot my SLKR. He one shot my gas, I think. Yeah, if I'm remembering this correctly. Yeah, he did. So again, props to him. He did well, but at the end of the day, I just kind of out-rostered him and was able to get higher banners on the full clear.
Out awesome, Dim. Yeah.
Awesome. Yes, no, some might say.
Yeah, me being some, I suppose. No, I mean, and that's the thing. Like sometimes it's like someone can do really well and play way outside of their like normal skill range, and it's still just inevitable that they lose. Sometimes you are just outmatched. And you said you out-rostered him. I mean, that's huge. That roster piece that you were talking about earlier, I mean, having a well-developed roster is extremely important. It's not just the game day stuff. It's it's the stuff you do in the background, and developing that roster is huge.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, I can't completely just say, oh, like I wasn't ready or whatever, because he had a Darth Revan, he had the mods on Darth Revan to be able to do what he needed to do. He was testing an arena, he got it down, but yeah, ultimately, like you were saying, the leg day wasn't entirely there to hold up for the weight.
Yeah, exactly. So Solo, how was your match 2? Did you lose any battles?
Did I?
Well, about this is the question of the night now.
I honestly don't remember if I did in that second one. I don't think.
I think maybe you didn't actually. I think you got a great score. Oh wait.
No, I didn't.
No, that was
this today.
Hideously that. Yeah, that was.
I played awfully in round 2, but I actually didn't lose any. So in round 2. Oh wait.
No, round two you did fail, I think, at least one. Didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
You got a worse score than I did.
I did. So round 2
you failed, or you just were the least efficient ever.
Well, I was also pretty piss poor when it came to efficiency as well. So round 2 was weird because my guy had 2 Galactic Legends, but he didn't have Rey, which this is the first time I saw that. He had Supreme Leader Kylo, he had Sith Eternal Emperor, and what he did was he put a GG8 team down in the bottom zone, and I had to worry that his Sith Eternal Emperor was hiding in the back, and his Kylo, so I couldn't use my JKR team. I couldn't use my Rey team, because what I wanted to do, if he put General Grievous up top, my plan was to just Rey that General Grievous team for... I don't like to do the Rey solos, because they scare me way too much. If something bad happens. But my plan was to just bring in 2 characters like Rey and Holdo, and I was going to take out Grievous with no problem. But of course he put it on the bottom, and the way I built my defenses and stuff, I was going to clear his Supreme Leader Kylo with Rey plus clones. So I couldn't use my Rey just in case Kylo was hiding in the back. So I ended up... Oh, I did. I brought my Jedi Knight Revan in against this Grievous team, and somehow I lost. I haven't lost with Jedi against Grievous in ages, because my entire Jedi team is now Relic. So it's not like I was taking in an undergeared team. I just couldn't kill their B2, because what he did was he modded his B1 to be super fast. I think it was like 309 speed. So his B1 was just like, it was like a machine gun constantly healing his B2, and I lost. But with all that said, so what I did was, knowing he didn't have Rey, he had the Jedi Knight Revan, Jedi Knight Luke counter, but they were severely undergeared. So his only way to beat Kylo, or Supreme Leader Kylo, was to mirror it. So I placed in the front zone my Grievous, which I find a lot of people with Supreme Leader Kylo just cannot resist soloing Grievous. They just cannot... Yeah, exactly. And so they fall for that trap more times than I can count. So he did get 64 against my Grievous. I watched the score go up, and then he got to the back zone and he could not clear my Kylo, so my back zone stayed intact. He took out a couple characters on the Kylo team, but he left Kylo and First Order Officer, so he also doesn't know kill order at all. So it ended up being an easy win. He didn't get a full clear, and so even though I had the loss with Grievous, it was a win. So, Zareth, what about you? Did you lose round 2 at all?
there were rumors that I would lose. No, I did lose one of my fights. So this was one of the most unique fights I've probably ever fought, because my opponent, he's a 482k lifetime player. So a very, very good roster. He had 3 Galactic Legends like me. And he'd already made Kyber. I'd already made Kyber, and he messaged me and he was like, "Hey, I know you stream. Do you just want to treat this match like sandbox? Like, I don't care." He was like, "I don't even care about a win. I just want to do something different because I'm burned out and I've made Kyber and that's all I care about." And it was cool of him to reach out and talk to me about it. I've been feeling like this kind of latent exhaustion a little bit. Because as my channel builds and people know more about who I am, kind of like I've gone like over 2 weeks now in a row where everyone I've fought against actually knows who I am, has recognized me, and I know that that's not always going to be the case, but I am kind of tired. So what I was and he was like, "And if you want to just do a normal match, that's fine too." But what I told him, I was like, "You know what? Let's try a match where neither of us uses Galactic Legends. We'll just, we'll have them on offense, but we won't use them. We'll go old school, pre-Galactic Legends." And so that's what we did. And by the time he agreed to it, it was like middle of the workday for me, and I had to go out to my car during lunch and set my defenses, which is totally. I didn't have time to plan everything. He planned it significantly better. And so yeah, we were off to the races. It's actually on YouTube now. You guys can watch the whole match. It was really interesting to me because it was like this blend of, we don't have Galactic Legends, but we still have
all the characters needed.
Jedi Luke, we have Mon Mothma, we have all these other teams. Piet is relevant. All these, the Mandalorian characters, everyone's relevant. We still have a lot of new stuff, but yeah, the Galactic Legends piece of it. So anyways, I get to the back zone and there's Geos, and I'm like, okay, as long as I'm gonna take Bounty Hunters because he doesn't have a fast Geo Brood Alpha. And if my Mandalorian can crit at least one time, he has 70% crit chance. If he crits one of the 2 times that someone calls him to assist, he'll gain enough turn meter from his unique that he'll get the execute or whatever. We'll get contract easily. We'll get execute and kill Brood Alpha, and then it's just cleanup. So as I kind of referenced earlier, the theme is lose to Geos week, and so that's what I did. Mando's like, "I don't actually feel like critting right now, so I'm not gonna." And so we didn't, and then the Geos wised up to the situation and killed Mando immediately, and that was that. So lost that. My opponent was extremely efficient on ground, destroyed me. I got the full clear after that. I was relatively efficient, but he got to the ship zone and once again decided he would lose to my negotiator till he ran out of fleets, and so I won. I got a full clear and he didn't, and yeah, so kudos to me apparently for placing negotiator on defense, because I think that was like a second round in a row that someone just flat out outplayed me on the ground. So I'm like still fearful of ships even as much as they hooked me up this week. So there's that. Yeah, so happy enough to have that opportunity. Very unique, really fun, really hard to think of in terms of no Galactic Legends, but yeah, it was fun.
I was gonna say it was fun. I watched it, and it was fun to watch because it was weird, because not only were you not using Galactic Legends, but it was this weird feeling where you weren't using the meta. Like that, I think that's what was the weirdest thing for me, because if you go back a year or two ago when Gas and Darth Revan was the meta, they were kind of like a Galactic Legend. But if you just suddenly took them away, things got really interesting really fast.
Yeah. That's
dude, I took so long to make my attacks. And I know that like I take a little longer than solo anyways. Than a lot of people, but I'm always trying to figure out whatever. I do take longer. I took way longer even than normal because it was just such a weird mental shift. I wasn't ready for it. Like I suggested it and then realized just how tricky it would be.
What
So,
have I done?
um, anyway, so we're all undefeated going into this final match.
Nobody's lost
Calvin,
any
you
battles. We're doing good.
right, you know, yeah, gosh. So, yeah, so you're primed, Calvin, to get the number one spot. Like you haven't failed a battle. You've gotten all the feats. You still have a few feats to go. And you're in the. This is go time. So how did your final match go?
Okay, so before I go into the final match, just one small story from last season. Last season, in the end of the third week, I completely out rostered my opponent. I was like, I'll be fine, whatever. Destroyed his ground completely. I took SOK on offense because he didn't have a Galactic Legend, so whatever. I'll be fine. Get to his fleet. I go into the Negotiator mirror match. I lose the double coin flip, lose Jedi Anakin immediately, and that threw off my whole season. Not only did I lose that individual battle, not get the full clear, but I also lost the match entirely because my opponent, he bounced everywhere, but he got the full clear, and that threw me out of the top 100, I believe. So because of that match, I learned something small from that match. Always put your Galactic Legend on defense. That's what I learned. And that's what I did every single time this season. I will probably continue to that until I don't have a counter for something else, which I'm not sure when that'll happen. But anyways, so this match, like Zara was saying, I came into it completely primed, 100% ready to get first. I think I was 20, 30 banners ahead of the next closest person. And I go in, and I know this dude sits heavy defense, and there's nothing wrong against that. He put, I think, Darth Revan, Padme, Geos, his Ray. He put all this on defense. He also put like a really wonky gas team. Like I think it was supposed to scare me, but I went and looked at it, and it didn't have any of its Zetas or mods or anything. So that was not a great idea. Don't put unmodded, unzated tunes on defense. But I went in and I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, there are a lot of things that can go wrong with this one. And the Ray worried me the most because I think the fin was 346. It was a really fast fin. And I've had issues with them before because my Darth Revan or my Bastila won't be able to keep up. I use the Darth Revan counter for Ray. And I got it just right. There were some moments where someone had like full turn meter, and this was RNG. Like there was nothing I could have planned to know exactly what the turn meter was before. But I got it all down. I slaughtered the Ray team for I think 57. Beat the gas team. Every single one of my counters worked. It was going flawlessly. I even managed to solo 2 of his teams just because of how the mechanics worked out and things that I had left over. It's going so well. And I get to the back wall, and the guy put Negotiator on defense. And so I'm thinking here, okay, I don't want to get screwed with the coin flip again. This is what's going through my mind. I look at the Negotiator speed, and if it was 1 speed less than max, if it was 1 speed less than 189, it was gonna mirror it. But he didn't have it, and this was faulty planning on my part. So I was like, okay, I'll just take it in Malevolence. I'm used to this counter now. I've done this a lot, both in Grand Arena and Squad Arena. The dude had really weird gear on all of his characters. He had a gear 12 5s, I think, and that threw off the whole sequence of the whole battle. The Negotiator was actually the one who went first, which I had never seen. Opened up with AoE days, immediately killed my Vulture droid, and it was just downhill from there. The error for that battle was entering it. Had I done just a little bit more research, I would have seen that his GR ships were not developed at all, and just taken in my own and mirrored it and clobbered him. But hindsight is 2020. Long story short, I could not clear fleet. I did end up clearing Negotiator, but I didn't have enough left in the tank to clear the other ship that he put. I think it was Brawn. Yeah, just couldn't take it down. Missed the full clear. When he missed the full clear, and I missed my first place. It was so close, and in the moment, I was very, 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 very upset. But there is a lot of silver lining to the match. Solo said at the very end, like, fourth place isn't that bad.
It really isn't.
Fourth place in the division. There's a lot of silver lining to. I can't complain. I need to be grateful for getting this far. I should finish top 10 still, even despite that blunder, which is very good, especially reward wise. And also, I think one of the things that I was most happy with is I learned from last season. My opponent, the team that he couldn't get through on my defense that gave me the win, even though I couldn't full clear him, was SLKR. So the exact same thing that happened last season didn't happen this season because I learned from a mistake, and now I have one more mistake to learn from for the next season. But yeah, it was obviously not the ending that I wanted, but I will gladly accept it.
Yeah, and that's fair. I was feeling so bad because I had even just posted it. I was like, guys, like on our Discord server, I was like, guys, go watch Calvin Awesome. He's about to get his, another Division 2 championship. Like he's gonna get it, and then the fleet failed, and like you'd gone perfect all the way until then.
I wanted the season with no loss. I wanted it so bad because if I go to Division 1 next season, it's going to become so much harder.
Well, and it's 3v3, and losses just happen more in 3v3 in general.
Oh, yeah, and you guys have talked about it before. Your counters just get what's the word, like mutilated and destroyed. Like I can't use a Darth Revan counter to Rey in 3v3. I can't even use gas. Like, okay, there's some circumstances, but I can't even use my gas to beat a Darth Revan in 3v3. That sucks.
Yeah. That's I was thinking about that the other day, and we'll probably talk about this on our Friday stream. But I can't think of a single circumstance that's going to let me or lead to me taking Rey on offense in 3v3, and in 5v5, I never set her on defense.
Oh yeah, people love to talk crap on Rey, but in 3v3, she's a god. Like
yeah.
You can mirror her. That'll work. SLKR will probably work. But that's about it. You can try to whittle her down and waste 20 tunes and still lose or whatever. But she is really good in 3v3.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she really is. I'm excited. I'll have her this time. So, and also have another Galactic Legend. I'll have 3, and then I'll run into people with 4. So that'll be fun.
Hopefully, or maybe not. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about these new 2 and 3v3 if they're going to be just as indestructible as the first 2. Maybe not.
Well, Jedi Master Luke Lead is already being beaten by 3 anyway, so probably not.
Yeah, we'll see when we get there. See if there's any buffs or AI changes or whatever the sort.
Right.
Seems like there's gonna have to be, but yeah. Anyway, so disappointing finale a little bit, but I'm sure you're gonna bounce back. Solo, how was your final match? You've lost, like you've gone 2-1 all other 3 weeks this season. Like you're feeling a little pressure to get to actually win a full week. How was your week? How was your final match this week?
Well, like you said, I was coming in. Let me tell you, I was coming in 8-3, and 9-3 would suck in my mind, but 8-4 sucks much more. So I came in, and much like your previous opponent, my opponent messaged me and said, "Hey, I'm a big fan of yours and Zaret's, and I use your guides all the time. Really appreciate it." And he was a really nice guy. And so I was like, oh crap, he knows what I'm gonna do. Like he watches.
Right.
But so he was the first one this pod that had 3 Galactic Legends, and previously in previous weeks he didn't have Jedi Master Luke. He just unlocked him in R7 Tim before this week, so I had no way to scout what he was going to do. He always set Rey and Kylo on defense. At every round, you can expect both Galactic Legends on defense. So I had to
Just
come.
with so much more pressure when
Right.
they do that.
Yeah. But so I had to come into the round assuming he was going to place all 3 on defense, because if he has this pattern of placing 2 on defense at all times, you kind of have to expect that he's going to place 3. So I had to completely change my defense, because with Jedi Master Luke, if you put him on defense, I needed to bring my CLS for offense to easily counter him. And this was the first time all season I took CLS on offense, which was quite strange. But that meant that I had to, I had to put additional teams to replace CLS on defense, which that felt weird as well. And for the past, since I got Jedi Master Luke, I've been breaking up my Jedi into 3 teams, and I just said, sorry, Padme, you're going to sit on the side. And I couldn't do that in this match because I needed CLS on offense. And so I needed to put Padme on defense just so I had a strong team on defense. And then, since I couldn't split up the Jedi like I wanted to, I put my Jedi Master Luke on defense as well, just as a... Well, if you put all 3 on defense, you're gonna face you're gonna face 2 of mine on defense. Luckily, I breezed through his Kylo team with my Jedi Knight Revan counter. I mirrored his Rey quite easily with JTR, R2, BB-8, and Finn. And I got to the back zone, and thank God there was no Jedi Master Luke, but he placed his CLS for the first time in the back zone. Luckily, I have a speed arrow on my Han. Ever since those whole turn meter changes went into effect, I put a speed arrow on Han, so my Han's 270 something. Not many people are beating that speed-wise, so I was able to go first, take out his Chewie, and then this was the easiest I cleared the board, so I can officially say I did not have a loss in that match. But he did. He got up to my top zone, and he lost to Padme. He lost to Darth Revan, and when I say he lost to my Darth Revan team, I mean I watched the attacks, and he got Malik down to the red, and just couldn't finish him off. So I kind of felt bad for him while winning at the same time. And that's actually what threw off his Padme, because he had to take in something sort of decent, even though Malik was close to dead. You can't toy around with just a Malik. And so that threw off his Padme counter. And so my third match was ironically my easiest match. But that's probably because I played the best as opposed to playing like junk in match 1 and 2. But so I finished 3-0. I finished 9-3 overall. 9-3 is much better than 8-4, so I guess I can be happy with that. Zareth, how was your final match of the season?
Dude, this week was just so tough for me, I swear. So my final match was against a guy who had Jedi Master Luke, but he hadn't had him in the previous week, so I had no idea what he was going to do. And again, really high lifetime banners, just every single time. And again, so he didn't know who I was going into the match, but then I was trying to find out which Shadowlands guild he was in. So I asked my friend Darth Evil, and she's like, I'll find out. And then she sent me the chat transcripts, and she was like, well, he's not in my guild, but he didn't know who you were until I told him.
There's mafia connections.
Yeah.
Which guild is this guy in?
Yeah, and like the chat transcript was funny. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're facing Zareth," and the guy's like, "Who?"
Who?
Yeah, I was like, "Yes, no, now he knows." So,
well, it was almost good.
yeah. So anyways, I messaged him after that. I was like, okay, well, clearly know who I am. So would you please, I would super appreciate, I would super appreciate if you would attack the bottom zone. And then I would love it if you want to come hang out in the chat with me. And if you want to do that. And all he said was, I'm not going to stream snipe, is all he said. He didn't say anything else. But then he did attack the bottom zone first, so I appreciated that. He failed one on my Ray team. I'd thrown Nest on there because I saw you'd always use like a Vader or Thrawn lead team to be able to tackle that. And Nest, for whatever reason, that's like the Nest on a Ray team. I never put the Hero Bros with her, hardly ever, because I don't want to put good speed mods on them, and they're great without good speed mods when they're with Jedi Training Ray. So, so I just had the usual like Holdo and L3 with Nest and I don't know, Zalbar maybe. Like it wasn't a great team, but Nest, it messes with people like that. You don't see Klesso failing too often, but the times I've seen him fail on against Ray using Vader was against Nest, and a couple other good players have lost to Nest. So I was like, let's just try this, and it worked. No idea what level of destroyed he got, but he did lose. He had to finish her off with something, and so that gave me hope. So going in, he had all 3 Galactic Legends on defense, and so his Jedi Master Luke was on there with Jedi Knight Luke lead. So after a small amount of testing, it was determined that Darth Revan was not going to be a suitable option for that specific match because Jedi Master Luke leads not with the Jedi Luke leadership ability, that gives everyone Jedi's will. He leads with his AoE, which gives everyone their 15% turn meter, which then clocks Shock T into an unreachable level for Darth Revan. And I needed Watt to go with with Vader, I guess. So I used Vader to kill his Ray, which was good. Used my Jedi Luke, Jedi Revan, Jedi Luke team to kill his Supreme Leader Kylo. That was really fast, but I managed it. And then I used my Jedi Master Luke with a bunch of just like kind of good Jedi. They were all relict, but they weren't like amazing. But with his lead, he was, he tanks all the hits, and mine was actually faster than his Jedi Master Luke. So I went first, and I got ability block on every single Jedi, so they couldn't do Jedi's will. So that was cool, and then I got 60. So big middle finger to his Jedi Master Luke, and then he plays Geos because he's like, why not? He fails on Geos all the time. And I was like, the joke's on you. I have Night Sisters. I will take a 56. Thank you. So I did. and then actually another streamer, Mudbum, was watching that. And he's like, really? Night Sisters works against Geos? And then he went and did it on his stream a couple hours later. It was funny. And he's like, wow, that was awesome. I was like, now you need to give me props. He's like, this fight brought to you by Zareth Prevails. Anyways, so I'm like, yes, I'm doing awesome. I cleared everything pretty efficiently, get to ships, and I dropped one against his Malevolence. I had my cheat code in End All Be All. He was like, okay, what you do here? And he just, gave me the cheat code to win, which is great. Cheat code is in like, he gave me the strategy. I still had to click. I wasn't cheating, but sometimes with End All, it's like, wow, that was easy. Thank you.
Yeah, it's the same thing. End All be all advice.
Yeah. So he talked me into beating a preloaded Malevolence team fleet with my 6-star Radis. So that was pretty cool. And so I got the full clear. My opponent. So then I messaged my opponent. He didn't respond. I was like, dude, I would love to know what teams you use just to ease my mind or to like just put me out of my misery. And he never responded. He just he cleared my top zone with no fails. And then in the back, he one-shot my negotiator. I was like, oh, damn it all. And then he failed 3 times against my Tarkin fleet and didn't clear that. And then he didn't try my bottom zone, so I have no idea. I would have won anyways with the Tarkin fails, but jeez. So I won. He never responded. I felt like he was being borderline rude. I'm not trying to throw him under the bus here. I was feeling kind of offended for him like never responding to me despite clearly being on. So I just exited the chat without and taking any screenshots because I was just, I was like, okay, not
Passive aggressive Zareth.
Dunsey.
yeah. Well, so I messaged him first. I was like, thank you so much for attacking first. I really appreciate that. Good match. Have a good one. And I left. So, I don't think I was that passive aggressive. I needed to remove myself from that without saying anything else. So maybe slightly passive aggressive. That's anyways. Got the win. This one I felt like I earned really well. I feel like I spent a long time figuring out my defensive schemes. If you guys want to watch the video, I think I'll be putting it out in a couple days. So I'll talk more about my defensive scheming, but I think I did out scheme him pretty hard is what I think. So that was it. I ended up at 11-1 this season. So
Nice.
I'm, not perfect, but I'll take it.
Yeah. Hard to argue about 11-1.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'll take 11-1 every single time. Like Calvin will be like, I guess I'll take top 10, I suppose. Like, like if I have to, I'll take top 10. And I'm like, could I please just go 10-2 every season and I'll be so happy.
Yeah.
It's because it was all in the last match. If that had happened 2 weeks ago, I would have been on fire about top 10. But it was the last battle. Anyways, I'll get over it.
Yeah.
And that's tricky. Like my alt, I was like, yeah, I'll go for top 10. And then like week 2, I couldn't clear a fleet zone. I'm like, all right, I'll just go for undefeated and keep my win record. Like it was just so easy for me. If I had waited until the very last battle to find out I couldn't get my goal, like that would be a lot harder for me to take.
Yeah.
So anyways, we
There's Ando. See?
Oh, we can begin.
We may begin, yes.
So guys, we're going to start having more guests on the show. We'd love to know what you guys think about, what you want their input to be, what the part they play. But, tonight, let's, Calvin, if there's anything else you want to say, let's do it. And then what we're going to do after that, we're going to go to just a very small break. We're going to, for the people watching live, we're going to show a clip of Calvin that Calvin put up of his gameplay. So you guys can watch his gameplay. You can see just how good of a player he is, and then we will be back immediately after that clip to finish the podcast.
Yep. All right.
So Calvin, are there any final words of wisdom you would like to bestow upon the Gambit podcast?
Do leg day. That's number one. Do leg day. Prep your roster. And just as a content creator, if you know any people that are around the division that I'm at, division 4, 3, 2, that are looking for videos that are going to be pretty helpful to them, please do recommend the channel. That's kind of what they're there for. The server that I just launched as of today is called Calvin's Classroom, specifically for that purpose, to help everyone learn, to learn the things that I didn't know 2 years ago when I Zeta the Qui-Gon Jinn, because to me it was invincible because it gave foresight and speed and offense, and there's nothing else you could want more. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And thank you, obviously, to these guys, Solo, Zareth. It was a pleasure to be here. I loved it. Very nice.
Yes.
It was awesome having you on and hearing your perspective on things. Can't wait to see you demolish Bus 70 whatever next season or the season after, whenever you hit Division 1.
If I had gotten first, that was in a possible caption for a post I was going to make, but alas, it is what it is.
That it is. All right. Well, thank you for joining us, guys. We will be back in just a couple minutes to finish the podcast. So, thank you. And again, Calvin, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, my pleasure, guys.
Awesome. We'll see you guys in just a minute.
Yep.
All right, so TM Tech right over to Darth Revan so that we can go before Finn. There we go. Got him. Gonna go ahead and fracture. Ooh, she was so close to taking a turn. Fear on you. We got it. Very good. Tank Tech over here. Let's not go ahead and clear any of that fear. Double tap. Why not? I think we're just going to go ahead and basic. I do not want to waste all that fear that we got from the original hit. That's very good. Get another round of fear going. Awesome. Let's just go ahead and basic here. We want the fear to stick. Let's go ahead and clear Darth Revan because he has the TM Tech. Again, we still have Finn feared. That's important. All right, we are into damage immunity, it seems. Very nice. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and ability block so that she can't use her big move. Switch to Darth Revan, who has a lot of turn meter. Going to go ahead and fear again. Make sure they don't get anywhere. She's going to go into her ultimate. That's completely fine. Going to go ahead and put the health tech over here in GBA. Just go ahead and do this. We cannot let Finn get out of fear. That is very crucial. Let's go ahead and see if we can throw it down over to Poe. That's good. Shit, we're going to be able to tank this big ultimate hit right here. Kaboom. And nothing. Going to go ahead and fear everyone again. And fracture for the second time. That's game, guys. That should do it. Let's go ahead and put protection back out. I like that. Let's go ahead and knock everyone down from the whatchamacallit, forget the word for that, basic here. And now we're just going to go all in and kill Rey. Big hit there. We got the death mark for just a little bit extra bonus damage. Let's go ahead and clear that again off of Darth Revan. Basic here. Poe's about to take a turn. This is not good. Not good. Fear, can we get it on him? Not quite. Let's go ahead and knock him down. Ooh, should have gone for the big fear. Should have gone for the big fear. Crap. Let's get over to Darth Revan. Big fear. Killer. Yeah, she's down. Got him. Okay. Gotta recover here. This could still play badly. Let's go ahead and throw this over here. Woo! Okay, now we're fighting against the timeout. We have got to make sure we get them all into damage immunity, and then they need to take another turn. Big hit. That's not great. Shock. All right, he's down. Can we kill him? Yes, got him. Don't want to fracture him. He's in damage immunity. Fracture here. Let's go ahead and do this. Shouldn't have done that. Pushed back his turn meter. Let's go ahead and put this on her so she can recover protection. Fear so he doesn't take a turn. Fear again, why not? Good. And boom, got him. Yes. 57, there it is. Okay. Woo. Okay.
All right, and we are back now, and it's just Zareth and I, the heathens that lose matches in the occasional rounds. All right, and so already I'm seeing depressing talk about 7-star Cam in chat while I have my 4-star, and I'm happy I unlocked him this past round.
I didn't realize he was going to be that good in 3. He looks really good. I didn't realize he's going to be that good in 3-star or in 3v3 though.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. Well, actually, this is the perfect segment for us to advertise for our Friday night. Guys, this Friday night, we are going to have a roundtable with the GAC guys. It's going to be Ando, Endall, and Klesso are going to join us. And actually, I think we're going to be able to put this out as a podcast as well for those of you that can't join us on Friday night itself, because I know we do stream a little late. You will be able to listen. Essentially, what we're going to do is we're going to wrap up the 5v5 season with all of us, and then we are going to start talking about 3v3, and maybe we're going to be talking about Qui-Gon and Cam, as sad as that's going to be for me.
Yeah, I'm still a couple months out, so
Yeah.
I'll be missing out for sure.
Yeah, you are a couple months out. I think I did the math. I am right now 13 months out, 13 and a half months out. Of course, there's going to be improvement in the guild. We're not going to stay exactly where we are. But if we stayed exactly where we are, I am going to be 13 months out. So maybe 11 months with a little bit of improvement.
Well, and maybe this is what lights the fire under people to actually get their stuff done.
That's fair too.
With the cam, because
That
that's the thing. He's just been like this idea behind everything. Like everyone's just like, oh yeah, like sure, we want cam,
right.
I guess, but there was just never like a pressing reason why. Like the reason I almost left the guild that you and I were in when we first met, like the reason I almost left was because no one was working on the Sith Triumvirate raid, and I needed those Treya shards now, is how it felt. So, yeah, it might be good to have a kind of a fire lit under some people. My guild is top tier enough that I feel like most of them could do it if they like really wanted to,
Yeah.
So there'll be those conversations going now, and all it'll take is 3v3. It'll be the catalyst.
Well, maybe something good will come out of 3v3. Though I will say, in props to the guild, we did double our cam shards this time. Part of that, since Gom is in chat, I will give full credit to. I spent about 4.5 hours watching on Operation Metaverse as Wolfpack did their attacks, and then I actually took basically just copied what they did and led a couple Zoom calls on for our guild, and we were perfect on those calls. Of course, I lost because Reek decided to attack my fives 4 times in a row, and then Django just finished fives off. But everybody else I coached went perfect, so at least there's that. So Gom, thank you, since you were involved with that as well.
Oh man, I'm so annoyed. I just checked. I thought I was at 6 stars. I'm at 72 out of 85, so I am minimum 3 months away. I passed Christmas at the very minimum, but maybe my gear 8 5-star cam will also be good.
Let's see where. I geared him a little bit. I have a gear 8 4-star cam. He is currently 16 out of 65. Look at that.
Oh man, I thought I was in bad shape.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting though for sure. So let's see. We could whip through news pretty quick here. We're still trying to figure out the order of all the things on our podcast, but in terms of what's going on in the news, there's not a whole lot there today. We got notification that we're gonna get IG-11 with wearing the child, or at least that's the picture of it. That we got. Probably get the kit tomorrow, and then we'll also get Kuil with rumors of more things to come from the Mandalorian as this Mando season progresses.
Yes.
So, what do you think about that, Solo?
I think I'm going to have to be scared that there's going to be a legendary. So it's really, here's my problem. I have already started the process of gearing for Sith Eternal Emperor. It's going to take me a little while because at least, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those characters are still purple at various levels of purple. So that means I need a whole lot of gear. And now I have to save some crystals for these two to panic farm when they're available in 6 weeks, just in case a legendary comes out. And I don't even think that there's going to be a legendary, but I don't want to be caught off guard. And so I've gotten every single legendary that has been released. A lot of them have been done through saving of crystals and then panic buying with those crystals at that time, such as JTR, Jedi Knight Revan, Darth Revan, and Malik, all done that way. So now I have to do that while also trying to gear up for Sith Eternal Emperor. So there's that. I will say, if they build this team, what I'm hoping happens is, right now, you have the 2 bounty hunters, you have Cara Dune. Kuil isn't going to be considered a bounty hunter. He shouldn't have the bounty hunter tag. So I'm hoping that they build a team synergy And it's almost like when they did the Jedi Knight Anakin reworks with Padme. You know, they released reworks, then Padme came out, and then they updated the kits again. So I'd love to see an update to Mando, Grief, and Kara to give them synergy with IG-11 and Queel. I think that would be fantastic.
Sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
Though I'll be sad actually. So Cara Dune, if they make their own like mini just 5-man squad, like that'll be cool, but I will really mourn the loss of Grief and to a lesser extent Mando on my bounty hunters team. And
Yeah.
Kara on like either on Mon Mothma team or on the random Jedi or the random Rey teams that I keep seeing her on.
Right. I guess it depends on what this team does. I mean, I agree with you. I love Grief on the Bounty Hunters. I've been using him since he was 3-star. Now he's 7-star. I mean, he's been a fantastic addition to them. I really enjoy Kara as well on the Mon Mothma team. I mean, that's how you build the timeout team, is with her stealing all the turn meter. But at the same time, if they give us a synergized team that works well together, I don't think I'd complain about that. You know? So you're basically just taking them away from one team to put them with another good team. I can live with that.
I mean, I'll go with whatever's stronger, probably what's
Right.
best. I'll just
Yeah.
my bounty hunters, especially with Grief, man, they're punching so much harder than they were before, and to lose that will be sad. But what you gonna do? I mean, I guess the other piece of it though is this game is all about making the best decisions in difficult situations. Like so the Galactic Legends really kind of started this notion in my mind of like you need to make the best decisions possible given all the data presented. And like the Galactic Legends, like I remember just thinking like it's untenable, like it's impossible to use. Like you need to use Darth Revan to counter Galactic Legends. Great, I can spare Darth Revan. And then people are like, well, actually what you need 2 characters from the Darth Revan squad. Then you need Watt, so you take him from your Kylo Ren unmasked team. And then we need your Geonosian Brood Alpha from your Geo team. And then Thrawn, who's with whoever. We need all of those characters, and then you can kill one squad full of like Rey and a bunch of just like randoms.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like such an inequitable, horrible trade at the time. But at one point, it just, it kind of clicked for me. I'm like, okay, so yeah, we're gonna have to start getting a lot more flexible with our squads and what they're going to look like, and the defensive placements. And I ended up figuring it out, so to speak, pretty well. At least one season where I had only had 1 Galactic Legends and most of my opponents had 2. But like it takes this whole game is about making the best decisions given all of the data that you have. And I mean, if it's going to be the best choice to throw them all together, or if it's just best to disperse them, I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Yeah. And that just made me think of, so when we were talking earlier about the teams that are leaving the GAC meta and you don't use that much anymore, Traya, the Sith trio team, is right at the top of that list, because now you need Traya with either your Vader or Darth Revan or whoever's countering Jedi Master Luke, because if he applies that ability block, the whole counter goes to hell. So you put Traya there because, her unique cleanses that team. And so then what do you do with Scion and Nihilus? They just kind of sit there like, hey guys, don't forget me. I can annihilate a nest maybe for you. I just don't use them as much.
Yeah, I mean, last night I used Nihilus on my Vader team because I didn't have Bastila to spare, basically.
Yeah.
You just got to move on. So anyways, this new squad is intriguing. I love new characters. It's been like 2 months since we got since we got a new character. I got a message today. It was so funny. Like, I've been complaining about no new characters for, like, for 2 months. We haven't had anything except for the Galactic Legends, which is kind of almost, they are new characters, but it's more like a shift to our way of life more than new characters.
Right.
And so, other than the 2 Galactic Legends, we didn't have any come out in September or October. Like, none even announced or hinted at, nothing. And so for me, new characters are a big deal. I want new characters more than I want a new play mode. And just because it changes things up so much. And so I got a message today, and someone's like, "Can you believe that they're already going to be releasing 2 new characters?" And I was like, "What? Already?" And I felt kind of bad because he's like, "Yeah, like they just made these other characters farmable." And I feel bad because I just barraged him with my pent up frustration. I'm like, "No, they haven't released any characters for 2 months, and I need new characters." And like I just kind of went off on him, and then I was like, "Well, that was kind of unreasonable," but I still feel that way. So
Yeah, I will. So I'm like you. I enjoy new characters coming out, and they do add a lot to the game because they completely change how I think about Grand Arena when they start getting used, etc., etc. Except for a part of me was really hoping that new characters weren't released for like another month, because that would just give me more time to gear up. The Sith Eternal Emperor requirements before, because I have the compulsion of getting new characters to Gear 11 as fast as possible, and now I'm going to have to fight one compulsion with the other compulsion of trying to get Palp, and no matter what I do, I'm going to fail myself on at least one of those.
fair enough. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be yeah, it's gonna be such an interesting thing. I'm it's so weird. Like, I get so burned out on certain things, so annoyed at some things. I'm still as excited about this game as I have been ever, almost, even though Galactic Legends just can be such a drain. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I've still really enjoyed this game.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so that's really the only. Oh, there was one other piece that I didn't put on our outline. They did update the Jedi Master Luke AI a little bit, and so I didn't face a Jedi Master Luke with Ultimate before, but I know people have said that it was hard for him to get to his Ultimate with the old AI. I've now seen the Jedi Master Luke Ultimate multiple times when facing him, so they did change that.
True. Yeah. It's been a really interesting thing too. Like, the Reddit community, much derided Reddit community that kind of deserved such said derision. At times, like, they've all been saying, like, and a lot of other people say that Luke can't get his ultimate off. It'll just be an interesting thing if that's actually true or not. Now that this, I will unlock the ultimate tomorrow.
I applied it while we were on this podcast, actually, because I hit my daily reset, and so I just applied his ultimate. Yeah, but so that's the news from this week. I actually expect that next week we will have much more to talk about.
I think we're going to get an ocean of things to talk about, so to speak.
Yes, we will. So why don't we move on? 'Cause we have been going for a while.
Yeah, this is going to be a slightly longer podcast. I know some people have been saying we need a little shorter, and we had a guest today. We didn't control the time as well as we should. We'll work on that. But that being said, we have a ton of podcast questions. We probably can only get to a few of them today, just because of time considerations, but we'll keep them for next time. Love to hear what you guys have to say. Maybe we'll actually use some of these podcast questions on our special episode on Friday with the other Gambit Alliance of Creators guys.
Yeah, and actually, there a bunch of these are about 3v3 specifically, so they will be perfect for Friday to kickstart our conversations. So if you don't hear your podcast question today, check back on Friday, and we will get to it.
Yeah,
So
that'll be great.
let's get to a couple now.
All right, your choice, brother.
All right, well, let's see. All right, let's go with this one first. So it's way too early of a hot take, but do you think CG was successful with Luke and Palp at making the new Galactic Legends be at an equal power level with the old ones?
Kind of. So Luke, I don't want to use the word hard counter, but he just demolishes Supreme Leader Kylo, at least in arena.
Yeah.
And in Grand Arena, honestly, you don't need much to kill Supreme Leader Kylo if you have Luke on that team. And I haven't even figured out why yet, actually. Like, at some point it'll click, but it just happens that he just can't get through Luke, and it's a sight to behold. And then Luke apparently loses really bad to Sith the Eternal Emperor. I haven't seen him at all on my own shard at all. There's no one with him, so I can't even play test against it. He looks. I hear that he's broken AF in 3v3, or he's going to be. That's what people are speculating, at least, and I believe it with all of with the abilities that he's going to have. So, but then he gets taken out by Kylo. So I don't know. It seems like they actually managed, at least on their first swing, to make everything at least like somewhat equitable. It seems like they did an okay job, frankly. What about you, Solo? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think they did balance it. The one thing I'm a little worried about them is with Kylo being such a hard counter for Palp. You know, right now most people are working towards or have one of the old Galactic Legends. In, say, 6 months or so, people that are just starting Galactic Legend farming now might come up with a Palp. Or, like, they might choose Palp as their first one. And so they're going to run into Supreme Leader Kylo's, and what's going to happen when their only Galactic Legend just can't beat the other one? And I do think that there is actually a Sith Emperor Palp lineup that somebody told me works against Kylo's sometimes, but I don't like the quote-unquote hard counter ability of them. I do enjoy that Rey beats them all. At the end of the day, everyone likes to crap on Rey, and we talked about it last week, but she is the only one that easily beats every Galactic Legend out there. So good on you, Rey. When I chose you as my first Galactic Legend, I was right.
Someone in the chat is saying, does Rey beat Sith Eternal Emperor?
She does. I have one Sith Eternal Emperor in my shard. My shard mate tested it a few times. He's let us test against it. He refuses to leave it in overnight, though, because it is awful on defense. Sith Eternal with ultimate. He did have the ultimate, actually. He never got to the ultimate, but he had the ultimate. You know.
Yeah, I mean, he totally could have done that if he had been given the opportunity. Yeah, totally. It's like the guys on the bench. They're like, I totally would have scored that if it had been me in that situation.
Yeah. So yeah, Rey appears to be the winner, but at the same time, she's the loser because everybody hates her, and her matches legitimately do take 4 minutes sometimes. So that's a negative all on its own. But yeah, I'm fairly happy about the equal power levels as well.
Yeah, we're probably going to see a boost for one of them eventually, maybe both, because that's what happened with the other two. But I'll say the thing I'm most disappointed about their release is that we didn't get a reworked Royal Guard. That's what I really
agreed.
I really wanted that, and we didn't get it. Seems like a missed opportunity they probably saw it as an opportunity to release like a named royal guard eventually. There's my cynical side kicking in, but anyways, yeah, we're in an okay spot right now. And I think the thing is, I love especially that you can use Commander Luke to take down so many versions of these guys. I love that too.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so
pick one more solo. What's one good podcast?
We have 2 short ones, and then the other ones are actually really good for Friday. So let's do they are 2 short ones. So the first one, if you had Treya Sith Trio all at G12 and only had the resources to take 1 to G13, who would it be and why?
Oh, dear Lord. I don't know. I did Scion first. I did him way before either of the other 2. I think because he takes the most hits. That being said, right now, given the state of all the counters and stuff that I use, I would go with Treya first because I use her as part of Galactic Legend killing stuff. Like she's way more tanky they're all 3 of them are way better at gear 13. I didn't realize how night and day difference it would make once I finally got them relicked. And it delayed me getting Rey for longer than it should have, but man, I don't regret that at all. They are great at gear 13. They are not great at gear 12 really, but Treya, man, she is of those 3 going to end up being the most useful in my opinion. Like long term, people still use her even when Scion is just collecting dust if he ever does. Treya, in my opinion. What about you, Solo?
For the exact same reason you said, it would be 100% be Treya for our level. If I'm not facing Galactic Legends yet, like you said, I would do Scion first, just because he's the tank you want him to be beat on. So yeah, it would be Scion at the lower levels. If at the lower levels I could afford to G13 a Treya team.
Though and it at even still lower levels, Nihilus is probably more important.
Right.
Yeah. Though at even lower levels, you don't need him. You can just he's good at 11. Honestly, I remember thinking Nihilus was pretty tanky back in the day. Actually.
Right. Yeah, I felt that way as well. Part of that is the Treya lead, just that they regen health, though.
Right. Well, yeah. I just remember, I was like, yeah, you only need him at gear 11. Like, I was good with 3-star gear 11 Nihilus. I was happy with him way back when he was first released.
Yeah.
Really, really good. Really good. But
yeah. All right. So next short one. Everyone I've watched uses Trooper Piet. Does the Piet special to mark a trooper first. Why not start with the AoE days? Zareth, do you want to take this one after your Trooper Geo experiment?
Well, so I'll let you, Solo.
Okay.
I still don't understand the interaction as well as I should. So it's starting to click, but I mean, yeah, it has more utility than I had originally foreseen, actually. So yeah, you feel free to take it away.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, what's happening with that middle ability, and it's called Imperial Ambition. There's a few things. One, you give the entire team offense up. So the whole point of troopers is to kill something and kill something fast. Giving offense up is going to do that. 2, it's going to stealth Piet. A lot of people don't have Piet at R5 yet. They still don't have him at 7-star yet. So stealthing the G11 character or G10 character is a good idea just to keep him alive. And 3 is you can put this inevitable failure on somebody that is tankier. That way, if you're going up against somebody that counterattacks, they're not counterattacking, say, Veers. If you put it on somebody with the most health and protection on the team, they're going to counterattack and hit the person most likely to survive. And then if that person doesn't survive, Piet gets absurd amount of stats if they end up killing him. Like if this person survives to 15 stacks of inevitable failure, Piet will gain 50% max health, 50% max protection, and offense stacking on that guy's death. At 20 stacks, it becomes 100% max health, 100% max protection, 300% offense, and 25% speed. So, yeah, you might lose, say, Stark, but then Piet just becomes an absolute monster. And if you do the AoE days first, you're going to reduce the amount of stacks of inevitable failure that Piet ends up getting, and 2, you're going to lose out on the offense up and the survivability of Piet. So, in a team meant where the other side never gets a turn, you want to give them all that offense.
And yeah, so I disagree with nothing of what you just said. One thing I do want to add is there's also some hidden utility with Magma Trooper of all guys, just because you give Magma Trooper gets all of these debuffs and he gets all the turn meter. You guys, some of you might remember how. Now I'm trying to remember what team they used to counter. Was it Treya back in the day?
It was the Treya killer.
Yeah, so like he would just take unlimited turns basically because he'd get debuffed. He'd just take unlimited turns, throw his AoE, throw his AoE, throw his AoE, throw his AoE, and he'd just slowly wear them down. And there's going to be some similar utility. Like, so, I don't understand the team and its uses all the way yet. I've been so focused on 5v5 stuff, and no one has had that team available, so I've just ignored it. But that is an up and coming squad that is going to probably be relevant at some point, or at least it'll be on the edges of relevant, and we'll have stories about like, oh yeah, I remember some guy used that on me and I barely beat him anyways because I deployed good fleets. So, and
I will say with the AoE days, the other thing about that AoE days is if it kills somebody, it inflicts fear on the entire team. The entire opposing team. So using it your first turn, it's not going to kill anybody, and you really lose out on potentially fearing the entire other team, which, would be quite nice as well with troopers when you're trying to make sure that the other team doesn't get a turn.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, what's next?
Well, so now I think we're going to save the rest of these for Friday night stream because, well, it'll be nice to get some other people's opinions on this as well. We'll kind of use them as the conversation starters on Friday night. Yeah, especially since like there's one about modding GL Luke, and there's a few different opinions there on it. There's talking about another one that's talking about hypothetical defenses and offenses. So it'll be good to ask the entire group. So Ando, get ready. You're being asked questions on Friday.
Prepare thyself.
Yes. All right. So why don't we move on? Oh, shit. So let's talk about our alts briefly. We're kind of at the wrap-up stage here.
We are. We can get through the rest of this
fairly quickly. Yeah. Yep. So we both have alts. We both came into this past week at 9-0 on our alts. So Zareth, how did you finish off Grand Arena with your alt?
So this is I feel so frustrated that I had failed against that fleet zone because I actually think I could have still maybe made a credible run for top 10-ish, even though I had failed against a fleet. Because I got really good banners on most of my matches, and this week it was a little bit less just because my opponents were better. That's what happens in week 4. But my first 2 matches were not that hard. Like they played some good defenses, but I kind of just ran them over. And my final match, though, I didn't realize it because he had pretty low banners. No one in the season had actually full cleared him, and he'd never lost actually. So I had more banners, and I was like, oh yeah, well he's lost one of them. I don't scout my opponents with my alt unless it's the final week and I'm going for top 10, which I clearly wasn't. So went in, and I was astounded by how good his defense was. He had a really impressive bounty hunters team that it had a bunch of relics, and on weird characters, though, like on Greedo, on Embo, like decent characters kind of, but like he didn't, on his bounty hunter team, he did not have Django or Boba or Mando or Grief. None of those. Like all the rest, the other characters were good, but they were all like gear 11, gear 12, gear 13, amazing mods on them. And so I was like, okay, I'll throw in my better characters on my bounty hunter squad and I'll beat them. And I lost. I only killed Greedo, and that was only because I got lucky in placing a ton of grenades or thermals on him with Dengar. Otherwise, they just destroyed my bounty hunters. And it took a few fights to get through him. I eventually did get through him, and I did full clear him the first time he's been full cleared this season. And then I looked at his fleets, and I was like, okay, he's not beating my fleets. And then he didn't even get to my fleets, actually, my defense. So, but my alt has done really well this season. Actually, only one player actually got to my fleets this season. I never got full cleared, and only one person got to my fleets. So hiding my negotiator back there is almost a waste, but I don't know what to do. One way or another, I beat him 12-0. More importantly, in my mind, I'm at 83-0 with that account. So getting close. If I can go undefeated next season, there's a very good chance that I can get 100 wins consecutively. Nice. So, granted, it's in, it'll have been spread out between like divisions 4 through 2, or 2 through 4. I don't know how you go about saying that order, but, one way or another, pretty good result, regardless of division. But Solo, your alt, dude, it's been really kicking ass lately.
Yeah.
Like, you went from a couple seasons ago not making Kyber, just kind of a stumble, bad RNG or really tough opponents, whatever, to this season. You were 9-0 coming into this week. You faced some crazy opponents. How did you do this week? Could you finish with the perfect season for it? Like at that level, how'd you do?
I did. So my alt, for those of you that don't know or don't remember, is Division 1, and it is, I guess you would call it upper Division 1 at the same time for GP levels, not for content of the alt. Because I am, 6.5 million now, I think? Let me see real quick. Yeah, 6.45 million on the alt. So I'm facing all people with Galactic Legends. I came into this pod at 9-0, and I looked at, I ran the hotbot comparison beforehand, and I looked, and there were 5 people in this final pod with over 450k lifetime banner. So 5 fantastic players. And I got matched up against 3 of them. So it was not an easy week by any stretch of the imagination, but the reason I'm doing so well on my alt is because of Jedi Knight Luke. The past couple seasons when I got Rey, I wasn't ready to fight other Reys. I just, honestly, I was not. And so that's why I missed Kyber that season. And then I didn't have a good answer for when people placed Supreme Leader Kylo on defense before, so it was kind of a am I going to win, am I going to lose type situation. Now that I have Jedi Knight Luke and I have the Jedi Knight Revan and Jedi Knight Luke counter, everybody still places Supreme Leader Kylo on defense, and I basically roll them. So I came in, and my first match was up against somebody with, I think it was like 452k lifetime banners, and I won by 30 because I didn't have a loss and he had one loss. And then My next match, I went up against the guy with 467k lifetime banners, and I ended up having one loss, and I was really worried about it. 'Cause of all things, I lost to Grievous again. This team just won't stop killing me this week. But he lost twice to my Grievous, so the team that killed me also saved me, so I was able to pull out the win there. And then we went into the final match, and this guy always places Supreme Leader Kylo on defense, and this guy has 500k lifetime banners now, so he's a very good player. And I was prepared to face this. Oh no, that was last week, or the second round. Sorry, he always placed Supreme Leader Kylo, and this guy placed Kylo, Malik, Revan, Red Panda, and Faust. He's never placed Darth Revan and Malik on his Supreme Leader Kylo team, so it made me panic, and I ended up using Jedi Knight Luke and Jedi Knight Revan in a Rey squad to take out his Darth Revan, or his Supreme Leader Kylo, which is why I failed on the General Grievous team, because I didn't have my Jedi Knight Revan, and I just kind of mishmashed my way in. Final match was up against somebody that had 500k lifetime banners. He had Rey, I had Rey. We both full cleared in one shot. It came down to he misplayed his EP Vader counter against my Padme and only got 51 banners. And so I misplayed his Rey team, because I did a Rey mirror match and I let her saber throw one too many people. So he came into the bottom zone needing 122 banners to win. So he needed to average 61 banners. He got 61 with his first attack, and that had me sweating. Because, he did it once. He just needs 61 banners. And going in undersized, my back zone is not strong. I had KRU-led First Order team, but on my alt, it's only gear 12. I had a Kira Nest team, but on my alt, it's only gear 12. So they're both teams that you could very easily get 61 against. But against the Kylo, he had to go in 3v5. And all he had left to take out my team was with Geos. So he was able to win 3v5, but he dropped 2 banners in the process. And so I ended up just eking out the win and just eking out 12-0. And I'm a little upset that it happened on my alt and not my main. Like, I'm extremely proud of how I played. I'm extremely happy with what I did, because I face a lot more adversity on my alt having only one Galactic Legend. But, God, I really wanted that on my main and not my alt account.
Dude, I hear you on that. I mean, could you imagine if I could have an 83 win streak on my main facing the guys I do? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. It just doesn't. My alt doesn't face as much adversity as you. Like, I have maybe like 3 difficult-ish matches every season, and you clearly have more. Like
3 this week.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. And I didn't even realize my match was supposed to be hard.
Right.
On my final match for my alt, I was just like,
Are you there? Apparently Zareth froze. Look at that. A cliffhanger. Nope, that's the wrong one. Let's at least hide him while he's got that face. Hopefully somebody shots it. Alright. Well, that just disappeared. So,
your alt.
Oh wait,
as well.
you just disappeared, sir, and then randomly came back. you froze, so we didn't hear anything you said.
Oh.
But
Well,
here we
I
are.
have a lot of good things to say.
I'm sure you did.
Trying to give you huge props for your attacks for your 12-0 season.
Yeah, people don't want to hear good things about me. But anyway,
It's hard to believe.
it is.
To be fair, so no, no, you did great, man. That's a serious accomplishment. Going 12-0, no matter what division, and you faced, you were in the toughest division, facing guys with Galactic Legends every time. Like, huge props. So,
well, thank you. All right, so let's kick this out before you freeze again. All right, so, well, we've in theory been working on our rosters this past week towards Grand Arena, even though now it's going to be 3v3. What have you done with your roster in anticipation of Grand Arena?
Grief will be gear 13 shortly. Otherwise, I don't know. I've just been throwing some random gear, like, Royal Guard needs all of his pre-gear 12 stuff, so I've been doing that. He's, I think, gear 10 right now. He needs a couple stun guns or something obscene to get him to the next level, and that's stupid. So I don't know. I've made very little progress on my roster. I keep trying, but I don't know. It feels like I'm even like murking. I'm going to other guilds and getting good, raid prizes and everything, and it's just kind of a slog lately. So nothing too crazy, just grief and some on Mando. What about you?
So like I said earlier, I'm on the Sith Eternal Emperor gear train right now. So I have gotten Veers at G13. My Tarkin was at gear 10. I have him at 11 plus 5. He's one piece away from 12, and so I'm guessing that should happen in a day or two. But that's really it. Veers and Tarkin. It's not exactly the most exciting week, but Veers I'm okay with because I use my troopers often now that we have Piet. And Tarkin, actually, he's the second one I'm gearing up because we do need him in fleets. Even if I just use him as a cleanup fleet, having him at gear 13 soon should, in theory, be worth it. At the same time, I'm also one piece away on Count Dooku. Dooku should go gear 13 tomorrow, I would assume, after my daily reset. Yeah. I need about 8 more pieces, and then he goes gear 13. So if they show up in the shard shop, I will get them quickly. If not, I'll just farm them throughout the day, and then with my energy at the daily reset. So he'll be there because we have dark side territory battles coming up, and really don't need. I mean, I finished max waves with him at gear 12, but I figure it can't hurt to get him gear 13 before TB.
He'll be relevant in TB, yeah.
And I mean,
be relevant in 3v3 as well.
He will, and he's Zated, so he's going to be annoying in 3v3 at least.
True. Absolutely true.
All right. So that's our week. Here we are at the end. Why don't I'll go through this stuff real quickly about how you can find us. If you're listening, you've already found us a little bit. So Zareth and I both have Twitch pages where we stream our Grand Arenas. Zareth's is XAERETH_PREVAILS. That's Zareth Prevails because some heathen stole just Zareth. Mine is...
Didn't use his account ever.
Right. Yes.
Unforgivable.
My Twitch page is just SoloBase15, so it's SOLOBASS15. We both have YouTube pages. Mine is SoloBase15. Zareth is just Zareth. He didn't need the Prevails on that one, and so it's just XAERETH. We have a Discord page. You can find the link if you're watching on Twitch below. If you're listening to the podcast is in the description below, or it will be in the description of any YouTube video that we put out. So there's that. And then finally, and in 3v3, this gets a lot of action, is our counter sheet. We log the people that we go up against, and what we do is we have the full team on the left, and it is the leader with everybody that's on the team. On the right, it will show you our counter, and it's the full team for the counter. And then most importantly, there's going to be a link to the video so you can actually watch the counter. In 3v3, there's just more teams on the board. There's a lot of weird synergy teams. And on offense, you get to use a lot of weird synergy teams as well. Or sometimes you just use teams with absolutely zero synergy, and because it's 3v3, they end up working. But you will be able to find those counters on the Google Sheet. You can find that in the description to any of the YouTube videos we have. You can find it on our Discord server, which is also can be found in the description below. The Discord server is it's growing quite large now. I think we're up to just under 1,600 people on it. A lot of those people have made Kyber. It's a very active Discord server, and it is focused on Grand Arena. So come join us on Discord. Come join us on YouTube or Twitch. We'd love to have you, especially on the Twitch live streams. It just feels good to talk to people while we're streaming. And please, if you need help finding a counter, we will move the 3v3 tab to the front so you can find it quite easily and use our counter sheet, because that's why it's there, so you can see what works, because a lot of us won't remember the last 3v3 time. And since Prime Force is here and has stuck through to the end, yes, come talk to us on Discord or the Twitch streams, and we will talk about Gar Saxon to your heart's content. And with that, Zareth, I think it is time to call it a night.
I think so, Solo. I think this is good. We finally had another guest. Guys, expect more guests. We would truly welcome feedback on what you want from guests. We absolutely want to have them on here. We also know that due to feedback that we've received in the past, we need to keep, the guests' input. Well, we're not going to have them with us on the entire show, and so that's not necessarily where we want to hear what you guys want, though. So, we might not necessarily take your advice or preference, but we'll take it into consideration and we will listen. So yeah, please give us feedback on that. And with that said, I hope you guys all have a great week and can join us on Friday for our Gambit Alliance of Creators. I don't even know what we're calling it, but
yeah,
Q&A thing, whatever.
We'll come up with a clever name. And actually, that is a perfect example to join us on Friday, because if you have questions about the upcoming 3v3, Endall is there to answer them.
Endall will be, he'll have a sore throat by the end of the
exactly
evening, sore voice. So.
All right, guys, we're gonna call it a night. Have a good night. Have a good week. And remember, evil sucks.
Don't be dicks.